king of the rappers, the mission.
Hey, what's going on, gang? It's Murado Music with 3-piece TCG, big TCG, and 2D. I'm coming at you with that Boat Scout Lucci. That's right, y'all. I've got a bunch of guys that are like experienced players and some newer players that are just getting into the game. You busted open them packs, you got you some geckos, you got you some jacks, and you're like, I think the game is telling me to play black. I think I want to learn how to play Lucci. Well, then this one's for you, Chang, because we're getting into it, all right? I got my hair slicked back because we're playing Lucci, and that does make us a piece of shit. So smash that like button, finger pop the subscribe, turn on the bell, and go down in them comments. Let me know what I'm doing right, what am I doing wrong, and what would you be doing differently. I don't think I said that right. Anyhow, let's get into the list, okay? Let's get into the list. All right, so I want to talk about this leader first, okay? So he's a 5K attacker, right? And a 5 life. We love a 5 life mono king or queen or them. When attacking, you may trash the top 2 cards of your deck, give up to one of your opponent's characters -1 cost for the turn. Now, a lot of people have issues with this, and I did too. When I first played this, I played this deck in 07 when it first came out. First time I played it, it was one and done. I was running a shit ass list. I had like 3 Rebeccas. That was really dumb. And I also didn't see Rebecca in 2 of the games that I lost, which was like, I mean, I didn't see her in life or in trash, which was crazy. But anyhow, I didn't understand this leader's ability like that. And there's a way you want to be thinking. So if I have a gecko in hand, a jack in hand, if I got 2 geckos in hand, bro, I'm using this shit every fucking turn. Why? Because I'm building up my trash. And if I get rid of a gecko, it's not the end of the world. Okay. However, if you're towards the end of the game, I'd say not towards the end of the game, more so towards the end of the deck. You know what I mean? Once you get into like on the simulator, you can count it out and that helps you in real life. But once you get to like 20 cards and 25 cards, and which is half your deck, you know, outside of the, 5 in life, and you haven't seen a gecko yet, you got 4 geckos. You could potentially have 4 geckos floating around in that deck. So yeah, don't be surprised if you play a spandom and you swing and you trash or what have you. You're gonna wind up trashing a Gecko Moria and you can't get a Gecko Moria back. There's no way. All you can do is bottom deck it and then hope that you go through your entire deck and then you'll see it again. So that's what you want to keep in mind, is the relativity to what you have in your hand to what you have in your trash, how many cards are in your deck. So you got to have a lot of gears working and running properly to run this deck, but that makes it a lot of fun for me. I've been able to mitigate my gecko lossage to a pretty good degree. You can still play a spandom. It has happened. You can still play a spandom and draw like fucking 2 geckos in a who's who, or fucking 3 geckos. You can still trash, 2 geckos. You can trash a gecko, a Rob Lucci, play spandom, and trash 2 more geckos. Like, that shit has literally happened to me. It can be crazy. So there are freak occurrences, but we got to use what we know, like I said, from our hand, trash, and deck, and how many life. We got to take in all the data to mitigate those kinds of losses. All right, so that's enough about that leader. Understand that you can also only -1 if you do trash the top 2. So remember that. Let's get into Spandine. Some people run 3. I run 2. Okay. That's my alarm for fucking signing up for treasure cups. So anyway, some people run 3. I'm running 2. The thing is that when it comes to your Gecko Moria combo, it's almost hard to talk about Spandine without talking about the Gecko Moria combo. Gecko combo is Gecko, Rebecca, a reducer, one of these 2. Then you bring back Spandine. Then you put 3 CPs back to the bottom of the deck per his, card cost. Then you play Rob Lucci over him. Okay, check it out. Without this card, I still have a Gecko play. I can still KO people without this card. But without one of these cards, I can't do shit. So what I mean by that is, if there are some people who run 3 of this, 2 Helmeppo, no Suru. The thing about that is now I got 2 cards in my entire fucking deck that can reduce in my Gecko combo. Now, while we're not doing the Gecko combo until later in the game, it's still pivotal that when you play Gecko out, you really want to be able to reduce and pop. So I would rather have one less Spandine, because remember, we're doing this at the end, right? I would rather have one less Spandine and more reducers to assist my event reducers and getting rid of cards, right? So that's where I'm running two. He's a great pick if you grab him off of Spandam. If you have to, cool. Otherwise, he's better in trash. He's one of our cards that's better in trash than in hand. So that's how we get down with them. Let's go over to Brook. All right, so I'm running 4 of Brook. I was running 3 of Brook. I was running no fucking Brook. I was running 1 Brook actually and 3 Kobe's. The thing about Kobe is if you don't want to spend $30 on Brook, you can play Kobe. And every time you kill somebody, you can say Kobe. But the thing is that you got to trash a card from hand, right? And that can be cool when you're putting Rob Lucci in the trash, etc. But towards the end of the game, you know, when you realize, damn dog, I have net negatived 2-3 cards popping people with Kobe. Those cards you could have back in your hand, that kind of sucks. When you got cards you don't want to get rid of, that kind of sucks. So anyways, that's where Brook's value is. Brook, he can't KO anybody less than 0, or anybody, yeah, you got to be 0. However, this is a pivotal card into your Doflamingos. This is pivotal into Bonney because you get rid of their searches for free. It correlates, its ability is able to correlate or collaborate, however you want to put it, with Jack. You swing with Brook into Dofi, you make somebody -1, Jack KOs. This plus this is 1, 2, 7, Jack KOs. You see what I'm saying? Depending on what kind of cards they have in the field, you know, 1 swing and then a swing, you get a 4 to -2, then you play out a Gecko. Yeah, like if you're playing Dofi or whatever, you know, you got a Gecko, you get -1, -1, Gecko, -3, and then into your whole little, they call it the God play or whatever. You get Lucci out, and then bam, you're popping 2 people, a 2 and a 1. You see what I'm saying? So, and then when you get multiple of them, it's magnifique. However, the creme de la Edgar about this deck is the fact that, or excuse me, about this card, is that it gets all of the aggro. They cannot stand to leave this card alive. They want to swing into it. They want to minus it down. They want to use card events to KO it. And the more they do to get rid of this card, the better for the rest of our deck. Because the thing about this card is it's brought back for free with Rebecca. Do what you will with that. You see what I'm saying? So that's why we're running it. You would think that all it does is -1 and all it can KO is somebody at 0. But man, oh man, this really does help out. This really, when you go second against Bonney and they play out that bitch ass fucking kid blocker, and for whatever reason they can't, they don't have a Rosinante, so they just have a chump blocker, a 1K, or excuse me, 1 cost blocker. You swing for free, you pop that. You know what I mean? You're already swinging at him for free. There's a ton of instances where this card works. So Suru, I'm running 2 of. Because we got enough 2Ks. To talk about Suru, I got to talk about my 2Ks. So I know getting into this, if you've been playing for a while, guys, I'm going to have to take a break because I got to sign up for these treasure cups.
A few minutes later.
Yo. Your boy is strictly business, dog. I got into all 3. Well, I say all 3 because there's 4 of them. But I got into one of them I was working. So I got into all 3 that I wanted to get into. Anyways, so yeah, you will be hearing from me. I will be having some treasure, let me tell you something. Anyways, back to the treasure of the deck. I'm sorry, I'm fucking lit now. Suru, yes. Okay, so there is a whole debacle, if you will. Now, if you're getting into playing Lucci, you're like, yo, I'm still happy about these treasure cups. 2, what do you mean people play 6 2Ks? What do you mean people play, 8 or less? 8 is like, yeesh, what are we doing here, right? Well, the thing about this deck is that because of Rebecca, you typically are going to be able to pull. Oh, and Gecko, you're going to be able to recycle your 2Ks. You're going to be able to pull 2Ks. You're playing 2Ks. You're pulling them in the hand. You're playing something else. So like a Rebecca, what I mean by that is I play out Rebecca. I grab a Khalifa. I play a Brook from hand. Boom. You see what I'm saying? And if you're in a Gecko, of course, Gecko play. You play Rebecca's either out of hand or you play Rebecca's with Gecko. But Rebecca, if you could run 6 of this card, run it. You know what I'm saying? So anyhow, that being said, there are people who play, you know, just for Who's Who, just for Khalifa, and no Tsuru, and no Helmeppo. Or they play Helmeppo, no Tsuru. I've also played lists where they play 3 Tsuru and 2 Who's Who and 3 Khalifa, or excuse me, 4 Khalifa. I like 9 because 9 is my favorite number, but I would rather have, I'm thinking about functionality. The function of this card and this card are exactly the same. Okay, they're exactly the same function. So, and if 4 of this is good enough, and if 4 of that's good enough, or that's all you can take, right? Then 4 reducers that are played off of a Gecko is going to be good enough for me. And the reason why I choose to just go for 1 more Who's Who is because 1, this allows this to work to bring this out for free. 2, it's a 2K. Cool. 3, it's a searchable 2K. 4, when you're going against Doflamingo and you swing with your leader and you minus their fucking, you know, Weevil down from 4 to 3, you can play this card out of your hand, put Rob Lucci in the trash, and now you've gotten rid of Edward Weevil or whatever 4 for 6 they got out there. You've gotten rid of a 4. You've established a 5K body that will then allow you to swing into them later on. And you can't do this until you're Dawn 1, Dawn 3, Dawn 5. You can't do this until your 3rd turn anyways. So having 3 makes it realistic that you will actually be able to see them by your 3rd turn. So that's why I'm choosing to, I kind of skipped over Tsuru and went into my ratios because I feel like it's all about your Horatio Sands in this one. And the ratio that I like, I think Khalifa is like 4 of non-negotiable. Why? Because Khalifa is not only she's a 4 for 4. It's not your attacker. You're not really looking at it like that. But she's a 2K counter. She's searchable. She's CP. And she draws 2 and then trashes 2. You play her on your 2nd turn if you're going 2nd. And we like to go 2nd most of the time. So if you haven't seen a Gecko in hand yet, and you're like, I think it might be on the top of the deck. Don't get me wrong. You could draw into 2 cards that aren't Gecko, and then trash 2 cards, and then do your leader ability, and then fucking trash the Geckos. But when you haven't seen what you're looking for, I feel like it's polite common practice to play out your Khalifas, see if you get that Jack, see if you get that Gecko, see if you get that big, that card you're looking for. And then trash those Luccis, trash those Spandines, trash those, we can trash Hina. You know what I mean? But, you know, trash the cards you don't want. And that's why she's so valuable. That's why we need 4 of her. And I already went into Who's Who, and I already went into Tsuru. And with that, let's go to Spandam. Jean-Claude Spandam. Some people run 3, some people run 2, some people run 4. I'm one of the people that runs 4. I love seeing this card in my opening hand because if I can see this card in my opening hand in conjunction with a Gecko Moria, I'll play 2 of these if I'm going 2nd, and I'll play them on my 1st and 2nd turn if I'm going 1st. You know what I'm saying? Unless there's a Brook. The reason why is because this card is filling up your trash. When your trash is full, when your trash got to 10 or more, your reduction is online, which draws you a card and minuses somebody 3, which is huge. But let's say I'm going 1st and I have a Gecko or 2 in hand. I'm trashing without a conscience. Why? Because especially if like your God hand is like you have this card, this card, this card, you know, this card, whatever. But if you get this and this, you're great because I can trash freely with Spandam and Leader's ability. And if a Jack winds up in trash, that's fine. On my 5 Dawn turn, I'm going to play Rebecca. I'm going to bring Jack back, okay? And then on my 7 Dawn turn, I play Jack. And then on my 9 Dawn turn, I'm playing Gecko. You see what I'm saying? So, but you have to be cognizant again of what is in your hand. what is in your trash, what is on your, how many cards you got left in your deck. So it can be a little risky business playing Spandam, but it's also a great card once you have your board in trash, and once you got a really good feel for the game, and you've got your board up and stuff like that, and you don't have a minuser, but you know what I mean, you can play Gecko into Rebecca into Spandam, and draw you some trash, you know what I'm saying, draw you some cards, get some 2Ks, it's that kind of move. So I can see him being at 3. And you know what, there's a card in this list I haven't touched on yet that I might want to make him go. I'm not going to go down on anybody but my wife, but -1 Spandam and go up on a Kuzan. We'll talk about that. Anyway, Sabo. So Sabo has been at 4. Sabo has been at 3. Sabo's now at 2. I played a list that had 2 Sabos, and the argument for Sabo at 2 was that, in the Dofi, he just gets put back in your hand with Josu. It's not, he's just not as, I guess, not as impactful as they used to be. I could beg to differ, but I haven't been in a game just quite yet where I'm just like, oh man, where's my Sabo? Sabo's more of a late game finishing card, and the reason why I say late game finishing is because if you've got this and this and this out, if you got these 3 out, and then one turn you play Rebecca and you pull Sabo out of trash, and then you play Sabo and your whole board is locked down, and then you just swing 6, 6, 8, and 9. I mean, what are they gonna do to that? You see what I'm saying? Like, especially if you're going against Black Yellow Luffy, this into this, magnifique. But the thing about it, the big thing about this card is it can be in the trash or in your hand, and it's a late game. It's a later game card, so it's not really that big of a deal. So that's why we've been able to get away with running 2 of it, which you guys should be happy about, because this is like a $20-something card at this point. But yes, that's its ability. Draw 2, trash 2. You're gonna filter out if you're all running odds, and you were looking for that Jack or that Gecko. Play this card out. You're gonna have a blocker. You're gonna lock down your everything that's come before that, and you're good to go. Another great line is that if you are going second with Lucci and you do have Kuzan, you play, I don't know, 2 Spandams or something. You play a Spandam on your first turn. You play Kuzan on your, let me go ahead and pull up Kuzan for the kids at home. You play out Kuzan and for your second turn. If they haven't got rid of Kuzan, then cool. You play out Sabo on your third turn, which is your 6, right? And you swing with leader, whatever. And then on your 8 Dawn turn, you have a Kuzan established. They can't KO nobody, right? And so once you do that, now your Jack is live, right? You play Jack on your 8 Dawn turn. You got a Kuzan already established, or you can play Gecko and you got a Kuzan already established, and you're big pop city. So I don't know, man. It's hard. I can't believe I've been playing without Kuzan for this long. But yeah, I do have a game, and I do know that I was running a Kuzan list with that game, so we'll talk more about that. Anyhow, Mancherry is the flex spot. The flex spot, gang, it's a card that you could put anything in. You get to choose. What is your flavor? What would you like to? How would you like this game to go, right? And the thing about one-ofs. A good pal of mine. Give me 1 second. So the thing about flex spots. Flex spots are reserved for, it's basically how would you like your deck? What is your little spice? A little one-of, little silver bullet, or 2 of this, or whatever, right? Those are your flex spots. The core of your deck, like for example, and Rob Lucci, is you gotta have 4 of these. You gotta have 4 of these. And some people will say you gotta have 4 of these, and you gotta have 4 of these. You know what I mean? And then you gotta have these, right? And then if you want to run, 4 Brooks, you can run 4 Brooks. If you want to have the Hina, if you want to have Mancherry, if you want to have a couple of Surus, if you want to have this, 1 6 King pistol, those are like flex spots. Things that the deck can do without. The deck can literally operate without. It's not your core build. Best way to put it. It's not your core build. These are things your deck can do without, but they're like cool little spots. Now, usually flex spots will be 2 ofs. Instead of a Mancherry and a Hina and this, I would be like 2 Hinas. and just this. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why is the silver bullet is what we call the one-ofs. That was more of an East thing. That was more of a players in the East thing. The West wasn't really, they just didn't seem to be fucking with that kind of play style. Because this isn't Pokemon or Dragon Ball where you see fucking half your deck practically, or your whole deck. In this game, you don't really get to see your one-ups very often at all. And so like a great player and a really cool guy, you know, friend of mine, from way back now, Mr. I don't give a damn Adam, said if you're just gonna run, if it's good enough to run one, it's good enough to run two, and if it's not good enough to run two, then it's not good enough to run, right? And I feel that, and I still heed that advice to this day. However, the nature of this deck being able to play cards out of trash, running one is kind of like running two of in this deck. You know, I can counter out with Khalifa, bring Khalifa back with Rebecca, and counter out with her again. I can play Hina, minus somebody down, jack them, she swings, she gets KO'd, I can bring her back again. You see what I'm saying? So that's where Mancherry falls in. Mancherry, so there are cards that win the game, there are cards that bring you back, and there are cards that win more, right? And so she right now feels like a win more card, and win more cards are cards you can do without. So that's why she's a perfect flex spot. However, if there is a time when I am talking about that, you know, Rebecca Sabo play, which leaves me with one Dawn, I play Mancherry, I play Rebecca, pull out, let's say I got a 2K, or let's say I already got Sabo in my hand. So I play Mancherry, I play Rebecca, I pull a Khalifa into my hand. I don't play anybody with her ability, and then I play out Sabo. Sabo protects this card itself, and, you know, Gecko and somebody else, right? So my whole board is Sabo down. This card is protected. It can only be bottom decked at that point, right? Then the next turn, I swing, I do my thing, or they do what they do. It's my turn. I swing, I do whatever I want. I block with Rebecca, let's say, and then I use their ability. Rest this character, return one Dawn, and return 2 cards to the bottom of my deck, and then bring back a 3 to 5. I can bring back this card, this card, this card, this card, that. I can bring back everything except for Gecko and fucking Jack, and it also has to be a character card. So I can bring back everything except for Suru, Helmeppo, and Spandam, and of course the events, and these two. But that's the majority of the cast I have right now, so I can bring back anybody. And then the thing about this card is now they gotta KO it. Now they gotta KO it, they gotta attack it, they gotta do something to it, because otherwise I can just keep cycling. So it's a distractor, and sometimes, God bless. Anyway, sometimes you'll see people play Gecko, stand Mancherry up, and play Rebecca sideways. Use Rebecca's ability to pull 2K, etc., and then call it a day. And for that reason, I say, look, if you're ever in a position where you can afford to play Gecko into Mancherry standing up as your standing up card, and your blocker card that has 0 into sideways, you're already fucking winning. This is a win more card. In my opinion, this is a win more card. So if I wanted to get rid of a card for Kuzan right now, that would be one of the cards I get rid of for Kuzan. But hear me out. It does have a counter, and Kuzan does not. And that does mean something as well. We'll keep going. Rebecca is the creme de la Edgar. Big old boobies. Probably structurally unsound, as the majority of the cast can be at times. This is the 4 of. You have got to run 4 of this card. And this is going to be the start of all the buffoonery. Even before Gecko, if you can imagine a time before Gecko, when you were playing Sakazuki, ew. You played Rebecca, you brought back Rob Lucci, and then you could play Lucci. And you had this and this. Well, you didn't have this back then, but you had this in a Great Eruption. And you could minus 1. You can minus somebody down 5, minus somebody down 2. You play this out. You know, you can pull a 2K if you already have it, and then you play him, and that's your 10 Dawns and you got rid of 2 cards, and that was your Rebecca Classico, if you will. And then you could also do the Mancherry and bring back a Rebecca, and that would be your 2. And then you could bring, there's different things you could do. Yeah, this card is also what you bring back jacks with, like I've already said. If you're doing Spandem and you trash them, no problem. You can bring this card back with Rebecca. It's a 3 to 7. So I mean, you gotta have 4 of these. You don't have to have them all alt art, but you gotta have 4 of these, and it's a 1K counter, and you don't mind trashing it. One thing to think about is if you're on 6 Dawn and they're swinging at you, and you got like 3 or 4 life, and you don't have a Rebecca in trash. Counter with Rebecca, and play Gecko out and bring her back out the next turn. That's one thing I want you guys to remember. Once you start getting into the later game, counter in hand's great, but like you want a lot of these cards, this card. You want these cards in trash. So if you get to a point where they're swinging at you, yeah, trash El Mepo, trash Rebecca. They swung 6, trash these 2. They swung 7, trash this one and this one. And guess what? You play this, then you get this, and 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 they go away. You see what I'm saying? So like, that's why this deck is busted. Rob Lucci, he is your what is it? Fire Fist. Yeah, he's your Fire Fist the card. You know what I'm saying? You get rid of a 5. This card gets you rid of a 5K and a 4K. He gets rid of a 2 and a 1, and after minusing down, you're getting rid of big cards. So I mean, if you got to trash a card from hand with this ability or this ability or this ability or this ability or this ability, he's the card you want to trash, because we very rarely play him from hand. We very rarely reduce and play him from hand. The majority of the time, he's going to be played for free off of Gecko. And there are going to be times where you don't have this combo, and that's fine. Just play Gecko, Rob Lucci, Helmeppo, and between that and your leader and your Rook or whatever, you'll be able to get rid of 2 cards. So that's Rob Lucci, 4 for 6. He's a finisher card. He's somebody that he gets aggro, and they hate to get rid of him as well, though, because they put him in the trash and he's coming right back. You know what I mean? But he's a good swinger. And that little bitch ass bird, I'm surprised we haven't made room for it in the deck yet, but is what it is. Gecko Moria, bro, Gecko Moria, 4 of. You know what I mean? Shit, dude. I mean, you play this card, then this card. You play this card. I've been talking about Gecko this whole time in talking about everybody else. Okay, so that's it. That's what there is. Okay, you got to have 4 of them, and I don't think there's even any spice. The spice about Gecko is everything he brings out, so we can skip Gecko. 8 for 9. Come on. Let's go to Jack. Jack is a newer card. This card has +4 cost at all times. At all times. Not just on your opponent's turn. Not like fucking bitch ass Hina. Man, if this card had +4 all the time, Black Luffy would be goated, but they just don't. So womp womp. Anyways, back to Jack. So drawing 1 card, sometimes we use this ability even if we aren't going to KO somebody because it's a distractor. If I have Jack sideways and I have like fucking 2 Khalifas, a Suru, and I got a shit ton of counter, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to turn Jack sideways. I'm going to let them think they can swing 10 into him to get rid of him and not develop anything big because of that. And then I counter out and you've wasted a turn trying to swing at Jack. Now, when you really want to bait him is when you can block out of 12. You got two 2Ks and a 1K that you're down to get rid of. That's when you're really baiting them because, they think, oh man, if I put 6 Dawn on Homeboy here, I can get rid of Jack. And if you get rid of more than 2 Dawn at any point in time as a black player, that means you do not have a Gecko Moria play. Because you can't Gecko after that. If you put 3 on them, can't Gecko. That's what we'd like to see. So we'd like to bait and make them feel like we ain't got it. And the way you would do that is if you had like 2, 4, and then, because that would be 10, 12, and then 13. You know what I mean? So if you had like 4 cards in your hand and these were your 4 cards, these 2, 1, and 1, and they're like, this motherfucker ain't got it and he ain't gonna protect them. You do it and you're good. So anyways, there's little things you can do. I wouldn't recommend giving up your whole hand all the time, but you know, if you already got the board for it. But just a great card. He's the reason why Lucci's still relevant. Who's who? Already talked about it. Hina, 3 for 5. Give somebody -4. Great card. If we're running first, if we're going first, and we want to play this card and just put pressure, dope. If we've already established a jack and we can play, you know, this into this and bring back this and play that out, and they, you know, if they're just like on some one big character at a time shit, that is 1, 2, and that is 6. So this will get rid of a 9 or less, and that is with no reducing outside of your combo. And if you count your combo of bringing this, and, you know, Suru, now you're getting rid of anything on the board, any 10k, so, or any 10 cost. So yeah, Hina is great. You don't need to see her. Do what you will. Helmeppo, we already talked about him. 2 for 3. He can go for game sometimes. On play, you know, give up to somebody -3. We like to play this with the Gecko more so than the Suru, which is why some people don't even run Suru. But we, just a great card. Senor, help me poo. Please help me poo. Ice Age. I love this version of the card. The other card is like the most boring fucking looking card I've ever seen in my life for One Piece. It's still top tier when it comes to Magic or other games, but it seems like a Magic card. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? You're giving me a Serene. All I need is Mist and fucking Mist, and it's a fucking Magic card. But anyways, this one's pretty cool. -5. You got to see this. Every once in a while, this card will save your ass because they got a Brook or they got another would-be attacker, a Hina, somebody that they didn't attack with, and they swung with this, you know, you triggered into this, boop, get them out of here. This card's actually great. It's actually a great card because it's a CP, and you may trash one, and, you know, somebody, you get rid of one of your bricks in your hand, and you give your leader or your character, you know, +3k, dope. Trigger, we don't really use it too much, but it is a draw one. And, you know, you KO 1 or less, man, we don't really care. This card, you got to have it, got to run 4 of. You draw a card, and then you if your trash is 10 or more, you get to -3. And this is what sets up the rest of the engine. Every once in a while, it can also save your ass. So that is the deck. Like I said, flex picks would be Kuzan for me. And some people run Kaku. I'm not fucking with Kaku because I'm not getting rid of any more CP cards in my trash to get rid of a 3 cost or less when I need to save those for my Rob Lucci's that get rid of 2. Let's see, who else? I mean, you could do Big Sabo, but you know, that's your whole turn. And you do get rid of some good cards. I wouldn't be mad at you if you played Sabo, but like, I mean, you're kind of catering to a certain, you know, opponents at that point. Isho is or issue ain't my baby. And 8 for 9 gets rid of 2 cards. That's great for great for Black Yellow Luffy, and against Lucci. But I mean, what are we gonna just run one of them? You know what I mean? I don't know. So, anyways, that's the deck. And now let's get into some matches, shall we? I've been yapping long enough. All right, gang, so we're going to start with one of the more straightforward matchups, and that's going to be against Jewelry Bonney. Now, this is definitely, like, not unlosable. You're just a little favored into it because of what you can do in the early game and how you can handle the late game. However, Bonney will catch you slipping. The addition of, Shanks, 9-drop Shanks, will blow this motherfucker right the hell up. So anyways, I'm going to take it from the top. 1.5 speed. I'll pause if I need to. But, so this is, I chose to go second because I want to take away their curb. I just don't want them playing Dofi on curb. I want them one more turn, you know, waiting. But that does mean they can play Shanks on curb. So you got to remember that. Typically, they only run 2 Shanks, though. So, yeah. Anyhow, I have Jack in my opening hand, and I got a bunch of Khalifa, no early. So I'm definitely going to mulligan this. And now we're going to draw into that. We still get the Jack. Miliki. We got a little more room to work with here. So now with this baby 5, they're going to be able to draw a Dofi. That's what they're looking for, essentially. And that's all they do. They pass it back to me. I ain't got nothing to do, so I'm going to run it right back to them. I did run it back to them. We're waiting on them. Okay, so what they did was they got to search out. Let's run it back. So they finally take the card, they turn sideways, and they do draw a Doflamingo. Dope. Now they swing at me with 6. I could actually take this, but I decided to go ahead and give up a 2K counter because I guess I'm kind of liking what I see in my hand already. I'm going to swing for 6 to lead. I'm going to trash 2 cards. Now, the reason why I'm doing the Khalifa and then trashing 2 is because I'm trying to build up my trash, right? And at the beginning of the game, we like to stay we like to protect what we can, because if things don't work out for us, damn. If things don't work out for us, then we, real quick, then we like to we'd rather block out of these and then take the hits that we can't block out of anyways, the 10s and 11s that they will literally swing at us. Anyhow, and then right there, I wasn't going to give up my hand like that. So I just go ahead and take. Now I'm looking at this right here and I'm like, yo, I could play a Brook, or I could swing 7, get them to take another life, and then I can play Rebecca, draw 2K out of trash, and then play Brook for free, and then get rid of their searcher again. So I believe that's the line of play I'm going to be doing. This is why Brook is important. I used to be like, yo, I'm not going to pay fucking $20 for this card. Now it's 30. But yeah, so now we got rid of 2 searchers. Okay, so now they give us another problem. Carrot. Carrot is a problem. So how are we going to deal with Carrot here? If I swing with this, they turn this sideways and Carrot goes to 4. If I swing with, you know, no matter what I'm swinging with, Carrot isn't going to be minus down enough for me to play Jack out. So how are we going to handle that? Let's see. It is a bit of a daunting endeavor at this point. I'm going to probably have to look at my trash and see, oh, okay, yeah. Now, what I can do is I can play Rebecca. I can pull Homegirl out of trash, Hina. Then I can play Hina, and Hina will minus that down to 1, and then I just load up on Brook. Now, what I instead choose to do is play out a Spandam, swing for 5, minus that down, and it looks like I'm going to go ahead and go for the Jack play. And the reason why I went against playing the Hina is because you want to save that for the biggins. This card is a terrible inconvenience, but it's not that bad. So, and we got a good amount of counter relative to our Jack. So if I want to swing at 5, they're thinking what to do. Obviously, they're going to turn this sideways. But I can play out Jack. I can turn Jack sideways. I can draw another card. Hopefully draw into a Gecko at some point. And if they swing at that, they don't develop anything with their 9 Dawn turn. We don't need 3 Jacks, so we're definitely going to get rid of those. So if you can't just swing 8 at this, you can't just give it 2 and swing 8. There's no way. I'll just block out of that. That's easy. So you're going to want to give them 4 Dawn. And if you leave yourself with 5 Dawn left, that's just not going to happen. So I'm going to do this just to bait, just to, you know, and if I were them, I would have froze this card right here. But, you know, I don't know what they have planned. They still have 9 Dawn. I'm thinking they're going to drop this. But if they do, okay. So that's why they feel safe. Okay, so they probably see the amount of cards in my hand and say, you know what, this motherfucker ain't got it. Okay, well, I do got something for you. I got a little something. And we are going on our 10 Dawn turn, so we draw into another reducer, which is amazing for us. And at this point, we can, they don't have any Dawn open, so we can reduce here as well. And let's see how we do it. Yeah, we're going to do this and this, and then we can just swing and KO that, which is pretty dope. Or, I wonder how we're going to do this. So I'm going to turn that sideways, get rid of the carrot. And then once we have our trash satisfied, we can play out Rob Lucci and a Helmeppo. Helmeppo's going to minus this down to 2. Rob Lucci's going to get rid of 3 cards. Just put 3 cards. When you're putting your cards back, you always want to make sure that you're putting back non-CP cards. The reason why we put back non-CP cards, because you're like, oh, well, I can't use this no more. Let me get rid of those. When you do have a Spandini and you got to get rid of 3 CP cards to play him and then get rid of another 3 cards, that's when you run into trouble. If you've already been getting rid of CP cards frivolously, you're not going to be able to do your Lucci play, and that's what people run into. So what I would always recommend is Ice Ages and Geckos. Geckos, put them back in the deck. And if you were to get to 0 cards in hand, then yeah, you would be like, yo, let me get on some, putting 2Ks back in the deck. But we're rarely ever in that situation. Stop working. Okay, so we're going Lucci. Hang on. All right, so we're going Gecko into Lucci into Helmeppo. We're playing him up over a Brook. We're going to minus that down to 2. That's 1. We get rid of the bigs that we can't bring back. And boom. I mean, look at us now. Okay, so now if they were to Shanks, it's not that big a deal. They Doflamingo, and it's still not that big a deal. I didn't even swing at him. That's fucking crazy. Yeah, I guess I was so satisfied with that play. But anyhow, smart on me, because we can swing here, make a -1. Swing here, make a -1. That's -5. And then we can get rid of him with Who's Who. So there's an option. We have options, essentially. So let's see what we're going to do here. Okay, so we swing 5 at him, make him -1. Okay. We can minus there too. Cool. And now I'm counting out what I have to spend, and so I can swing 7, and that's gonna probably get a card out of them. They know they got this 9 coming. Yeah, so they're gonna counter out what they can. Swing another 7. I used card action because I needed it. Swing 9. They go down to 1. And then after that, I'm going to play out Who's Who over Helmeppo and get rid of Khalifa. Yeah, that's a smarter one. And then now I don't have any cards in my hand, but if they were to play another Homeboy, if they were to play another Dofi Doferston, that would have been the game for them, because, you know, you can freeze, and I'm going to swing at you with the remainder, right? We just had them dead to rights at that point. If they were to play out that, there was nothing they could do. But this is how your board is going to start to look like towards the end of the game. This is what you want to work towards going against Bonney. Again, this card, it's pretty dead. A lot of people don't play it anymore. But it will win you certain matches against like Black Yellow Luffy, which you already win against. But if it catches you slipping in any other deck that isn't Lucci, that card goes away. That is good for closing game, but they just didn't do any damage to us. They didn't have us in any kind of state. So anyhow, let's go to the next one. I'm really trying to go for a Lucci, but we'll go for an anal. Anyhow, so with this match, I think I like this opening hand. I'm definitely going to keep that. So we're going first, right? And what we're going to do is just starve them out. We're just going to starve them out. And that way, when we draw into our Jack or play out our Gecko, they have to do something big. You know, if they want a Rygo, it's going to cost them. You see what I'm saying? So that's good. That's setting up our Gecko. We could use Tempest Kick to just draw another card, but guys, I'm not a fan of doing that. Not at all. These cards do not, this and Ice Age do not come back in your hand. And this deck is all about late game. So it's like, yo, what do you know what I mean? We're trying to get rid of characters and bring them back. Now for this, I'll go ahead and take, because I'm looking for a Jack. I would really like to find a Jack, and we are jacking off, baby. Now for this, in this instance, what I'm thinking about doing is just going ahead and playing this out, because we've got everything we need. Definitely taking reduction over everything. And I could just play out a Boot Scoot Lucci, and if he were to Gadatsu that would just put him back in there, and that's no skin off my person. Also, what they're going to 6. So if they play a 5, yeah, no. So what I'm actually going to do is this. I'm actually going to play Homeboy out. And if he Gadatsu's them, that's fine with me. And if he doesn't, if he just plays another 5 calls, I can't think of a 6 calls they're playing like that. But if he plays a 5 calls, that's 1, that's 2, and that's going to be 3, and they're out of there. And then if he swings at here, then that means I'm going to go ahead and take, for the rest of the game, they can't Gadatsu these anymore, or my Rebecca's. So that's a big deal. So let's see what they do now. The analyzer. More like anal. I get it. I get it. I get it. That's a good sense of humor. We like this person. That's a good name. All right, so you're going to do that. And that is going to get rid of him. And I won't have an answer to that, actually. But we are still going to play it out and just let it rock, because we don't mind going down lower in life. 8 is the turn that they can put something back, and if they want to put this back in the life, that's fine too. We're gonna get our engine going regardless. We are the late game deck, and so what we're gonna be doing next turn, I can play this out, and then this from hand, and then swing in there, and then we turn this sideways and they go away. So right now for 9, yeah, we're we'll probably go down to 1, because if they swing 10, then we're gonna take that as well. Yeah, this is gonna be a very interesting game, because typically I'll have something out here and I'll be able to take care of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that as well. They don't have any kind of card control, hand control stuff. So we got 11 cards in hand. We got 4 reducers. Yo, we got Gecko. We're big city hooping. Right now we're big city hooping. Okay, so we got 5 in hand. And I could go this into this, but what I'm going to go ahead and do is this. So I am going to swing here and use card action. And it's great that now we have a target to swing at without taking any life from them. And so now we're just going to get cards out of their hand. And if they, let's see what they're going to do. Because we got Brooks in hand, so that's going to take it to 3. Then this is going to turn sideways, and now we're going to have a Gecko. We're going to have a Brook out there. Okay, cool. So they don't even do that. And now I'm okay with swinging at them. I'm okay with swinging at them at this point, because we're going to have everything we need. He's officially getting jacked off. Why did that not come to me? Oh, oh my goodness gracious. We're cooking it up today. All right. Gonna do this into this into this and over that, and then we're gonna look at the top 3. We love to see geckos go to trash. Yes, that is me being sarcastic. For those of you learning, do not put geckos in trash. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take, what else do we got? We don't got too many. Okay, go back. Okay, so I'm gonna just go ahead and take a 2K. Yeah, there's no, well, I could take this as well. I don't see myself playing that out, but let's go ahead and let's take a 2K, and then we're gonna go ahead and play out, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and play out Brook over Spandam and cancel, and now we're good. Yeah, it took a little bit of thinking there because I got a lot of options, and at this point, anything he plays for 10, he can't heal. That's big. Can't heal. If he Rygos, he goes down to 1. That's a big deal. And then he can't play a big after that. That's a big deal. So I'm not going to say we got him dead to rights, but this is the position you want to be in. We are a destroying, we are monster. We're going to eat up anything he plays out from here on out. And we also have 8 cards in the trash. And so check this out. If I do this, that's -5, 6, and then 7, and then that 10's going away. You know what I'm saying? So for 8, now we're going to build up our trash. Uno mas tiempo, because I'm going to block. I'm going to give him this, and I'm going to give him this. I kind of like hanging on to those because those are like last chance KOs. So if I get somebody down to 3. And for this is going to work out perfect for us, because what we're going to do is we're not interested in developing anymore, I don't think. So what we're going to do is no blocker that. No block, and we're gonna give him that, and we're gonna give him that. Now this card's gonna go away. We can just give this card an Ice Age and call it a day, actually. So with that in mind, yeah, let's go ahead and make this -5. Let's turn this sideways, draw 1. Ooh, we got all the reduction. God, blah. I'm actually going to get rid of this Brook. I feel like trashing Rob Lucci instead, but we might need... yeah, I'm going to get rid of a Brook and do that. Now he can get rid of a life if he wants. And then I can play this over this and then get rid of him again. And then he's gone. And... yeah, so he's not going to get rid of his last life, so that's not going to proc his... that's not going to proc his leader ability. But what he won't be able to do is that. Okay, cool. And that's a great card to get trashed. Now, can we... if I play 4, I can just... yeah. So now I'm going to go ahead and do this. Over this, use card action. And I'm going to send... so we got 23 cards in our deck. So we know that we got 23 cards before we run into what would be our second gecko. So that's what you got to keep track of. You got 2 geckos still in there, or one of them in here. So you got to keep track like that. I got 2 Brooks in trash. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of a Brook. Get him out of here. Get him the fuck out of here. All right, so now we can do... so here's what you want to think now is how many times can you swing? So I can swing 7, 7, and 9. And let's see what that does. So let's see what 7 does. Actually, 1, 2, 3, yeah. We'll swing 7 with Brook. That way, if there's a trigger, he gets popped. It's not a big deal because he's already there. What we are looking out for at this point is if they play a big, you know. But we got 2K encounter, so they won't be able to kill our stuff if they want to. So there's a couple ways to think about this. If I swing 7, he can counter out 2. Yeah, so I'm gonna swing 7. If I swing 7, he counters out 2, right? 2 cards. If I swing 9, he probably doesn't counter, and then he has to give me 2 cards. But we're gonna go ahead and swing 7 instead for this at this juncture. I don't need to trash anymore, so I'm not gonna trash anymore because we're really hoping to see a gecko. We got 26 cards, and we know that, you know, 23 of them, there's 2 geckos left in 23 of them. Okay, see, so they're going to give us, well, they give us 3 1Ks. Okay. All right, cool. And there's no reason to swing and give them a free cycle, so we let it rock. Now, that's why I was going to say you swing gecko so that they have to take it, and then you swing another 7. You know, there's certain circumstances where I will swing big first and then swing 7 and 7. If he had 1 life, I would have swung 9 first because that's a lot for him to think about. And sometimes they'll take that and then they wind up having to give up 4 more cards. And this is easier to defend than this. And that's the other thing. This is easier to defend than this. If they swing at this with something considerable, I'm not going to do anything about it. Okay, they got 200 billion volts. We're going to have to be cognizant of that from here on out. Okay, so I don't like that. I don't like that at all. We're not going to 0. I don't want to go to 0 against this guy. And if he has 8, he can probably put one of these back. But yeah, we're not gonna go to 0. That's a little nutty buddy, peanut butter buddy. I think that that might be the last act of a desperate man, though. He probably doesn't have what he needs. So yeah, guys are putting that spice back in their deck. They're getting a spicy dick. People are getting burned. So look out for that. Upper yard? What the fuck is this? What is this build? Spicy build? Here I am, trying to give you guys a like straightforward anal. This guy's going cray cray. He's got the holy. I knew something was up when he had the holy, but damn. Then I saw this, I was like, all right, but damn, you know. What does this do? Reveal up to one card to Sky Island. I mean, okay, so it draws that for him, but no, I could have got that for him too, I guess. Oh wow, he is running some cards, Jack. Fuck me and what I think I know about anything. Is he gonna get rid of that? Yeah, he got rid of that. Wowee woo-wee. Okay. All right. So we're still at 1 life, which is good. Good for us. Good for us. We can bring this down to... Let's draw. Let's draw real quick. See what we can get. Perfect. That is just yummy, yummy in my tummy. So we can play this out. Play this Jack out. We're going to get rid of him. And then we'll just swing. So let's see. That is... Yeah, he's at 4 right now. So I can give this guy 1. Swing. And we're kind of chipping away. He doesn't exactly know what we're going to do just yet because we haven't revealed. We got 8 Dawn up. They don't know. Okay. Perfect. Now it makes me kind of want to go ahead and I only need 7. Kind of makes me want to just go ahead and keep swinging and swing 6 and 6 on Fox 26. Let's see what he does with this. Because if he procs his ability, that would be amazing. We're going to do this and to this. What are you going to do? Okay, he does get rid of it. He's not that crazy. All right, now we're going to swing 6 into life. Well, is this that part I was telling you about? If we swing 9, we can get him. Let's swing 6. Swing 6 and 6 and then 9. He's gonna have to give me a 2K and a 2K, and we know that he has "You're the One Who Should Disappear," so we know that's gonna be served up. Okay. And now is a time where I would go ahead and swing with everything both times because either way we want him at 0. So we're gonna do that. Still not gonna use my ability because I'm waiting on that gecko like a fucking check. Give me 2 cards. Okay, cool. And then I think he's going to go down to 0 after this. And after this, he's either going to have he's either going to see a 3rd anel, turn me sideways, and swing for the game. May add 1 card from the top of your life cards K up to one of your opponent's 7 or less characters. Okay. So he's running a spicy Sky Island build. We are riding the lightning right now, I'll tell you that much. I almost, at this point, wish I would have just Ice Aged that and played a 2nd blocker. That would have been fucking cool too. But if he plays a 10, we almost got the game sewed up. And if he plays, because what that Amaru is a 4, right? No, it's a 2. I'm fucking tripping. And this one's the 4. So if Amaru is 2... I wonder how many more of those he has in hand. We'll see. We will see. What's the trigger on that? Okay. So he's going to KO somebody, and I guess it's going to be... What happened? You may add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, you couldn't do that. Now maybe they were... This is 5... And this is 5. So maybe they were planning on doing 6. Yeah, maybe they were planning on doing a little... Wait, that's a 2K, right? 2,000. Yeah, maybe they were planning on doing 6 and then 7. But I would have had it either way. Yeah, so that wasn't going to work out. Very interesting build. But obviously, this is not what you want to see when you're coming to a close. Did they even run aces? They did run aces. Yeah, they hit all of them. They just didn't see it. Anyways, I showed you on my end how your ending board is going to look for when you're going anal and when you're in that ass. And it's typically like this. It does feel a little scary. It does look a little scary. It looks scarier than it is, though. I'll tell you that much, because you got to remember what we were setting up for was their bigs. So if they dropped an ace, they can't do anything. You can swing at my leader. I'll give you 1K. Then Ice Age and Tempest Kick, and your ace is gone. Yamato, Ice Age, swing with leader. Yamato's gone. You know what I mean? And then all the while pressuring. So like that is what we're planning for. We weren't planning on the anal. We weren't planning on this right here, but we still had those bases covered. So that's what the starving and then playing out your bigs. And if they want a Rygo, they go down to 1 life. And the big thing about that is that their cards go to trash, not to their hand. So that's what you got to remember. Trash top card of your lives. Trash the top life cards until it goes to 1. So anyhow, with that, let's bring it over to the other matches I've got for you guys. All right, gang. Now we're playing the game on super hard mode against Black Yellow Luffy, but I'm gonna explain it to you, break it down as easy as I can. Okay. So now this deck list has Kuzan in it. There is nothing wrong with running Kuzan, and this is the case for Kuzan right here. So I'm gonna play this out. They chose to go second, and they always will. And the game is going to freeze, as it always will. Okay, so they choose to go second. We're going first, and we get to draw a Span Dam out of trash, or we get the Trash Gecko immediately. We love to see that. We love to fucking do that. Anyhow. So now they're going to go ahead and do their search, and they're going to reveal an 04 Sabo. That's the blocker Sabo. We draw in, and we ain't got nothing to play, so we send it right back. Guys, remember, what we're going to do is we're going to starve them out, okay? We're starving them out, and then we're going first, and I almost like going first into this matchup because we go first, we see our Jack, which is why we run 4 Jacks, because we got to see Jack on curve. So we're going to play Jack, then we're going to play Gecko. With Gecko, we'll typically bring out a Rebecca, some sort of blocker. And then we are able to, on that same turn we play Gecko, swing 9 if we need to. But either way, we want to set up Jack into Gecko. And then after that, we want to set up blockers. And then, you know, they have to awaken themselves. And in doing so, they can only do that with 2K counters or power up Luffy. So if they're not able to do that with power up Luffy, that means they're going to have to come out of 2, 4, 6, 8K worth of counter from their hand. And that's where it gets tricky on their end. So anyhow, and the show begins, and it begins. And this is not what you want to see. You're like, fuck, this motherfucker's already got flying payout. Great, I'm on the clock. Swings 5. We got to block out of these as best we can. Because later on we will not be able to block out of 9s and 11s. So right here, this is pretty straightforward. I'm going to play Kuzan, and then I can swing with my leader here and trash 2 cards. We got rid of another Gecko. Did we get rid of 2 fucking Geckos? We hate Gecko in our dick. Anyhow, it's all right. We already got 2, and frankly, we can get by with 1. We can get by with 1. All right, so they're at 3 life. I guess this was here just a party. Yeah, what you'll get, even in ranked, as you can see, they set stuff up, and they're like, oh shit, I can't do that. And it's because they're so used to being attacked. But anyhow, what we're looking at here is if we swing with leader, we can, or excuse me, if we swing a Kuzan, we get a minus down, and then we can turn this sideways and get rid of it. Now, right here, I don't know how I feel about this because he could just all in at this right here. But that would be his turn, and he would have to go above 11. So we'll see what they do with that. Their Rocket Luffy is now live. I can give him Brook for that. Yeah, I can give him Brook for that. Because if we keep him alive, he's a blocker is what he is. And at this point in time, I mean, they've only Do I give up 2K? I would give up a 2K for that. Yeah. The me today would give up a 2K for that. So the me yesterday does the same. All right. So at this juncture, I could swing here, trash more cards, minus them one, and then jack them. Jack them off, baby. You get jerked off. Oh, jacked off. Okay. So now what are we doing? We can turn this guy sideways. We don't want to attack. We don't want to attack. We're not attacking face. We can get rid of Rob Lucci. Keep a counter. No, get rid of Tempest Kick. We're never using... Or you use Tempest Kick to draw. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so yeah, we're doing that. And now we're checking our trash. It doesn't look like we have a really good play. All we can do is Gecko into Lucci and a Spandam. And hopefully that'll put something tasty in our trash for next time. So Spandam first. We get the 2K. And now we have Rebecca in our trash. Now that's a spicy meatball. Because with Rebecca in our trash, we can Gecko Moria, Rebecca, and keep it moving. Okay, so it looks like they're going to awaken this round. And guys, here's the reason why it kind of doesn't matter that they got to go second. Because as long as they have life out, they cannot play a Gecko. Or they should not play a Gecko. The only time you gotta worry about that is if they have Makino played, they've arranged their life, and then they play Gecko because they know they have the littles and the big in life that correlate. And that's the only time. Outside of that, you don't have to worry about it. And that Makino is like 1 out of 10 games that'll happen, you know? Maybe 2 out of 10 games. Okay, so we're in the mix now. We're in the mix now. They're in the cycle. They got us in the spin cycle. The question is, are they going to swing that 11 to Homeboy or to our leader? They pop Kuzan. All right. They got a blocker, but you know, okay, they need to get rid of Jack then. Yeah, they're gonna swing that at Jack. We can't do nothing about that. And so now, what can we do? We can play Gecko out, and then the Gecko would give us a como se dice. Let me explain this real quick. We can play the Gecko out, and Gecko's gonna give us blockers, etc. Right? I choose to do this because at this juncture he has nothing else. And if he uses that blocker, that means I can load up and then attack for face, and they're going to have to give me some cards. So let's see what happens. I choose to just swing. Okay, trash. And I'm being a little patient here, and I'm going to play out Gecko. And Gecko's going to give me Rebecca and a Spandam over a Spandam, and that's that. Grab that, yeah. And then I get to do some other things and grab another 2K. Yeah. Yeah, and don't play nothing. Now I got 8K in counter. I got a blocker, and I've got 2 eligible bachelors that can attack. And but we're in the mix again. We are in the mix again. Now I do favor what I did in place of just swinging. What would that have been? I would have swung 8 plus 6 is 14 into 9. That's 2. That's 11. 13, 15. That's 3 2Ks. That would have been small potatoes for him. We wanted to set this up. We want to play the long game with them and take advantage of the fact that they're on the clock the second they go to 0. Once they go to 0 life, they have to be able to cycle each and every time, or they're not going to make it. All right, so that was going to happen. And however, if they want to swing here, and they do, we're going to block out. So we're going to counter out of that. And there we go. We're feeling a little crispy pants right now because what we can do is we can swing 9, 9, and etc. But we want to develop too. You know, there's reason to develop as well. So right here, when they block that, instead of giving me counter out of hand, to me today, I want to take that bait. I want to take that bait because I know that They can swing Gecko to Gecko next turn, but you literally cannot spend 1 Dawn next turn, or you will die. So unless they can do the combo without Gecko, they're not going to be able to spend Dawn on anything else. So let's see what I do here. I decide to swing 9 again. They give me a 1K. And okay, I am really playing this one out. I'm really playing this one out. I would have probably settled out of court for a swing of 16 to 9, but me and all my all-knowing past, present, and wisdom, days of future past, which literally is the present. I decide let's do it one more time. Let's run one more round of this. Okay, and as you see, they are steadily losing cards. Okay, now with this Luffy, it actually is a net 0, which is cool, but they're gonna stay stagnant, and each time I swing, they're gonna lose a card or a life, and they don't have no more life to lose. So they decide to get rid of Rob Lucci, and with that, they draw a card. They're going to swing 11 into 8, and I'm going to block out of that. And if they swing 9 into 8, I got another 2K. We're good for that too. And to me now, this is the round I got to close it out, because we don't want to face down 2 geckos. You know what I'm saying? We're not trying to do all that. So I'm thinking, okay, I can do 11, 3 is 11, and that's 2, 5. And instead I go for 10. So my original thought process is always to go for 2 above. That way they can't just counter out like that. However, if I do that and they have to give me a 2K, that means they have to give me 2Ks. Once they run out of 2Ks, they start giving me babies. Once they run out of babies, they start giving me blockers. Once they run out of blockers, we win. So they do still have 7 cards in hand, which is a lot. So we're going to see what's going on. I just swing a straight 9 at them. Okay, my math is all over the place at this point. They give me a blocker. I mean, that's all I need to know. So now I'm going to swing 17, and they have not enough. They do not have enough, and we win the game with 4 life, dog. So we had a who's who. We had a 2K, a reducer, a Sabo, and a Sabo. So if we got down in life, if they didn't take everybody out, we could have Saboed down. And you know, that would have helped out. But yeah, there is a grand example. Grand Admiral, there is a perfect example of how we are stuck going first, but we starve, we play our bigs, and then we play the waiting game. And it's really a war of attrition in the truest sense, because what we are doing is we are outlasting them with our blockers and bigs. Each time we swing with a big, they got to give us a card. If they don't have geckos to play, then this game is over. They can search and then bottom deck their geckos. That can happen. They cannot see the 2Ks they need. Let's see what else can go wrong. They cannot see the correlating bigs and littles, of course. I mean, there's a lot. They cannot see their Sabos. There's a lot that can go wrong. But the biggest things that go wrong for any black yellow Luffy player, me being one myself for a while, is your opponent's starving you out. That sucks. You need to see your resources. So that means now I got to spend 2Ks. So that means now I don't have 2Ks for counter later in the game. Also means I got to start my own engine. Also means if I don't have the right cards in my hand, if I have this board and they got 2 life and they got like 8 cards and they don't got any blockers and they're at 5K, I can start swinging. I can start swinging and get a lot of cards out of our hand. So these are just things to think about. And I hope it's kind of gelling and you're getting to see what I'm doing in real time. Okay. So let's see. I'm gonna check how long the video's been going, and we might make a part 2. But other than that, we're just probably gonna go to the gist of the list. All right, gang. Well, that's gonna do it for this video, because I'm about to sign up for these regionals that I just or treasure cups that I just told all you guys about. So yeah, obviously what was missing in my list today in that last game was Kuzan. I still think Kuzan's a great card. I still think it's a great card, and I might be putting it back in. We will see. So, but yeah, outside of that, you got to see the black-yellow Luffy matchup. You got to see Bonney. So it's like one of your easier matchups and one of your like, oh my god, hard matchups. And we had to go first, right? So with all that being said, smash that like button, finger pop the subscribe, turn on the bell, go down in them comments. Let me know, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What would you be doing differently? And I really hope it helps you guys out that are trying to get into Lucci, getting ready for regionals, and I don't know if you're going to be still playing this in Nats, but you know, there's different tournaments, and I got, like I said, new and experienced players alike trying to get into the deck, and they don't want to pay $200 for a masterclass. So this is how it's done. Anyways, this has been Marauder Music with 3-Piece TCG. Big TCG. And I'll catch you in the next one.
Flows like a faucet, swag dripping like a faucet. Dooney fixing, got Luffy ambition. King of the rappers, the mission. I see they got the lights, camera, but no action. They actually fiction.